Namaste, dear teachers and all loving friends. Welcome you all back to the third session of the series Educate the Educators. Today we will look into the next important aspect of the student growth and in the classroom management, which is the social and emotional skill development. As teachers, the social and emotional skills of the students have to be nurtured right from their formative years, that is the pre-primary classes, because we know students come with different packages of emotion and they hail from different social backgrounds. The present day scenario is very more sensitive because all the students mostly belong to nuclear families on one hand, and we are driven by the technology world on the other. So what happens is the students' emotions are at different levels and their social mannerisms and behavior also are equally at different levels of growth and maturation. This is because many students who come from nuclear families, or when parents are working, the students are leaving school and go back home. They are mostly found to be all alone at home or under the caretake of the maids or the assistants at home. And secondly, once they are back home, nobody to check on them of their usage of the various gadgets which are available in the form of cell phone, iPads, computers, etc. So it becomes very important for us as teachers to identify these background of the students and help them out, to shun them and be able to share with you if they have any issues, so that we can guide them and help them out to bring out the best in them. Because as we know, all of us have inherent talents, and it has to be directed in a proper way, channelized in a good way, so that each one of us can show our best and use it to the welfare of one and all. So moving on, we know that this social and emotional skill is very essential for we aim at what is called as the all-round development of students. Yes, all-round development is very important and need of the hour, because we know we have to be a multitasking and a multifaceted personality. To understand this, first let us deal about the emotional aspect of the student. We know each student has different kinds of emotions, and these emotions are very relative with age, relative with gender, and relative with what kind of individual he or she belongs to. So the emotions are, however, very natural, and we have to handle them in a very, very sensitive way. For example, if we find a student in our class to be very silent, introvert, or not able to mix up with his peers in the class, then we have to find out the background of the student, counsel the student if necessary, because we as teachers have to also at times turn out to be counselors and address them, find out the ways and means through which we can tackle the problem and bring out the child from his shyness or introvertness and bring him to the mainstream. The next aspect, which is socializing, which is also very important, because we know we are all social beings. We are born in this world and we are interdependent on one another. Many a times when we find students not able to cope up and gel with their friends and peers, there could be some reason. There could be some kind of a setback. So we have to find out and help the students, because while young, if they are not taught to love, care, share their emotions, then it will be very difficult as they grow up to face the challenges in front of them. We have to give them ways and means of team building and friendship, how to find their peers, and thus enable them to be able to grow with their friends. At the same time, we should also keep in mind that each child has a self-respect and a self-esteem. We at no time or no point can play with it. So we have to be very, very sensitive when we are dealing with the students, because it is said that school is the second home and parents are the first teachers. So whatever is missing at home, if we have identified it, we have to help the child to grow with it. This can be developed only when we have a kind of empathy towards the students, so that we help them out and they grow with it. To be able to do this, I think we should be able to give our students, along with academics, a lot of co-curricular activities, which we call as the experiential learning. Experiential learning means to enable the students to experience what is being taught or what he is learning. This is nowadays given with a lot of focus in the areas like gardening, vocational training, carpentry, pottery, designing, embroidery, and also cookery classes or hobbies. And the child, as I said, they grow and come out with their own inherent talents and they have some kind of inclination. So once we know, we have identified it, we can group such students and put them in such areas and have special classes for them at least once in a week, whereby they bring out their emotions. Because you all know nowadays there is a lot of kind of artwork. When we go to an art gallery and see, there are such beautiful modern arts which are put up. Actually, they don't show or seem to have any kind of a figure or a structure or a shape, but they do speak and they do give a message, what they call as modern art. That is what, nothing but the emotions of a particular painter or an individual who has just shown his talent in the creative form. So just throwing out emotions with these kind of experiential learning, the child brings out whatever is in him and tries to show it in the form of the artwork. Because it is also said that there is already a sculptor, when asked, he says there is already a Lord Krishna or a Lord Buddha inside the stone, and he just need to scrape out the extra bits of stone to bring out the idol what he is visualizing inside the stone. Similarly, all students have a visualization for themselves कि हम ये अच्छे कर सकते हैं, I can do this, and then it becomes very important for us to give such areas where the child will be able to bring out his best. Because many a times we have seen, we teach so many students and they might not be academically performing great, but later on in life they would have grown and found out themselves to be into hotel management, or now I know a boy who is getting trained as a sports coach. But in our school, in his school time or school days, we have not seen him to be a very great sporting personality. So that is how those inborn talents have to be found out, tapped, and his emotions should be given a beautiful shape, and a path has to be shown by us as teachers so that he walks the path. The next way to bring out and tap these emotions are to introduce lots of sporting activities. Because we say all play, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So once the physical body is given lot of exercise, lot of bending, running, and using your body, so all the inherent inhibitions, all the inherent emotions comes out. he shouts, he screams, he runs and plays and jumps up and down. So these emotions flare up and throws out. And then the boy is now in the field. There is no more restriction. He is a free person. He makes his friendship. He makes his peer group. He starts to bring out and throw out his emotions, and thereby starts growing. One more important thing to tap both the emotional and social skills is to introduce meditation, yoga, therapy, because we all know as we grow we have learned and understood that these two aspects, that is yoga and meditation, is very necessary to calm the mind and find out who you are, how much you can be a better person. So along with experiential learning and sports activities, introduction of yoga and meditation also becomes very important. So I feel that the emotional skill development is the foundation on which we all are growing, and we have to give various rays or various avenues for each child to tap it. He can become a great artist, he can be a great singer, a dancer, an athlete, a sports person, a scientist, a doctor, an engineer, we don't know. But yes, we have to tap it and enable the child to focus so that he grows with it. This has to be done, as I said, in formative years, and it has to be inculcated in the student as an habit formation, because we know the word habit very beautifully spelled HABIT. Even if you remove the letter H, a bit remains. Even if you remain the letter A, bit remains. Then remove the letter B, it remains. So whatever is that which is within you remains with you, and thus we have to tap it and bring it out. But most of the time the challenge inside the classroom is the child is showing tantrums in lower classes, or in higher classes the child is not able to pay attention. So in these two cases, the best way to identify it and bring the child on the mainstream is use this principle called the traffic signal principle. We all know what is the traffic signal: the red light, green, orange light and the green light. Stop, get ready and go. Similarly, we will teach our children to wait whenever he shows a tantrum or he is not paying attention. Let us wait, find out what is the problem with the child, and then we will ask the child to think whether what he is doing at that moment is right or wrong. The child himself will come out with an answer. If it is wrong, we will help him out. If he says it is right, then we will find out what are the ways through which we can help out the child to better his attentive power. And then thirdly, we will ask the child to proceed or do or go ahead with his activity so that he doesn't miss out. Therefore, emotional skill, tackling or developing emotional skills is very important, because every child is not same. And how do we improve this is, please put up charts in your classes through which the child's emotions are not hurt, so the children can be categorized into various groups and they can be given titles. In the pre-primary classes we can give them as I love you chart. In the middle classes we can give you the star of the class chart, and in the secondary classes we can give as wow chart. That is, we give various titles: Miss Cleanliness, Mr. Hard Work, Miss Smiling, Master Science. This way we give them various titles, so we bring out their inherent talents in the form of various areas of interest, and thus they become motivated and they are also happy that we have identified it, and they build up confidence and they prove their best. So before we try to cover up, I give you a rule to follow. The rule itself is called ruler. That is, recognize what is the emotional setback or the socializing problem with your student. The next, you understand whatever is the reason behind it, and once you have understood, help the child to overcome either of the emotional or the social problem, and then we label the child, and that is what we give in our various remarks in the report card, in the school calendar, saying that this child is doing best in these particular areas. So we label the child. That is nothing but we are identifying the inborn talent in the student. And once we have done this RUL, it helps the child in the next step to express himself better, because he waits for remarks from us as teachers or back home with parents. So we also have to teach him to take these advices in a positive way, and therefore the child will be able to come out and express himself. That is your next letter, E. And last but not the least, R. Again, another last R. Let us all teach our students to respond to any situation but not react. There is a huge difference between these two words, respond and react. Respond is when we have used our traffic signal. That is, we have found an issue, we are given time to think about it, and then we really understand the problem, and then we act. That is respond. But most of the times we'll end up seeing that we react to situations unmindfully, and then we repent for whatever we have reacted. So as educators, let us all use this rule and help our students to grow better. Before I conclude this session, I'll give you a small story through which we can understand the impact of how emotions can be slowly weaned away from our students. The story goes like this. There was a father who was doing his work, and he found that his son, a very small son, was playing mischief and was throwing tantrums very often. The father thought of a way to correct the son, and so he gives him a small challenge or an activity. He tells, my boy, I am going to observe you for a week, and then if I found you have improved and you have been able to get rid of your tantrums, I will reward you. Then the boy becomes a little feel good, and then asks the father, what is the activity? The father tells him, here are these few nails and a hammer and a wooden plank. So every time you feel you get angry, you will go and nail a nail on this plank. Every day you go on doing this, and at the end of 7th day, I will observe what is your status. Okay, the boy takes up the challenge, and he starts off with the first day. He nails 10 nails on the wooden plank because he got angry 10 times. The next day, next 3rd, 4th, 5th, he goes on seeing that he is able to control his anger because the number of nails gradually reduces, and on the last day, 7th day, there are no nails at all on the wooden plank. So the father goes back to the son to check on the plank, and he says, okay, so you have seen yourself that you are able to control your anger from day 1 to day 7. He says, yes, Dad, I am. But now the father gives him the next step. He tells him, now start removing the nails back. So the boy starts removing the nails from the wooden plank, and lo and behold, what he sees the holes which are formed on the wooden plank. So father tells, see boy, this is what happens. A wooden plank itself, when you have nailed, it has left a mark. Similar is your case. The more anger, the more kind of negative emotions you have with you, throwing tantrums, shouting, screaming, etc., etc., it is going to leave a mark in your own self, which is going to ruin your life. So instead, speak out, share your emotions. We as parents or as teachers at school, we are there to help out these children to come out of these tendencies or emotions which are harming them. Unknowingly it is harming them. So let us help them out to clear off these inhibitions, clear off these negative tendencies, and help them to grow as beautiful citizens. For this, all of us have to play our role, though it is small, but yes, we have to play our role. So hope we all will follow it to the best of our capacity and help our students to come out of their emotions and develop healthy social relationships with one and all. Thank you. Have a nice day.